All right. Well, welcome to the Generation Gap podcast. I'm your co-host, Gus Sanchez.
I'm glad you said co-host, Gus, because I am the host, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
I'm Ed Sanchez.
And this is the Generation Gap podcast. If you're new here or you're just joining us, this is a podcast. So we are father and son. I'm the father when I'm 17 and he's 63. um, But yeah, so this podcast is merely based on the fact that we have very different ideologies and viewpoints on mostly everything, wouldn't you say?
Just about everything, Gus. I can think of some things that we agree on, like we both like tacos.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make for a good show, am I right?
That's correct. So,
But yeah, so this is a podcast based on that we have very different viewpoints and just stances on topics of the world, and we're here to kind of talk about it with you guys.
yeah, I'm gonna offer this today. Today we are going to discuss our thoughts on religion, and we have, as Gus has noted, we have very polarized viewpoints.
Yep.
And I'm north and he's south is what I'm thinking.
I would say about southeast
Yeah,
for
close.
me. Yeah,
Close.
it's like I don't know.
So
On a 360 degrees, I'm about at 270.
there you go. And so we're going to talk about religion today. Our viewpoints. Gus is a young punk, and I'm a mature, experienced, educated, smart individual.
Are you saying that I'm not educated? When did the Crusades happen, Dad?
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Here comes another history test.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, never mind, Gus. I'm going to say let's just jump right into the topic.
Yeah.
And get started.
I would say that too. Let's get into it.
You know, being a parent, as Gus was growing up the last few years, my wife and I are both Christians, and we grew up. We grew up Catholicers, is what I call them, and people will not be happy with that when they realize that's a Catholic. We grew up Catholics, went to Catholic schools, and we're lucky enough to be paroled from that religion. So we got religion, we got
Very
spirituality, and we took Gus through the loops of hey, let's offer our kid a foundation of this, and, as well as our other children, and to date, I do have several children, and to date, none of those children are practicing Christians, if you would. So, Gus, tell us a little bit about your thoughts after going through some basic Christian education and being exposed to
Basic
Christian
training.
lifestyle. No, it wasn't basic training. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about your thoughts, Gus.
Well, I just want to say before I personally get into it, what's kind of funny is how you mentioned that you did offer that to other siblings of mine. But what's funny is I'm the only child that did not attend a religious-based school throughout like elementary or middle school, which is pretty interesting.
Actually, your oldest siblings
Really?
did not go.
Oh man, then we're the lucky ones.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I'll agree with I'll agree with the schooling part of it. It may be a little excessive. Hey, we lived in a real rural part of America in Wyoming at the time, and so our kids that went to a Christian school, it was either go to the school where you learn to pick a banjo, or go to school where you learn to read and write. That's a joke, by the way. And and so we opted to send them to Christian school. But go ahead, continue on, Gus.
Yeah, well, I did find that interesting, something about me in particular, because I did grow up in kind of an era where even though it was offered to me and it was kind of given as like a way for me to explore my own life from a spiritual perspective, it wasn't so much of a forceful opportunity, I'd say. I wouldn't say that it was thrust upon me. It was more of like an
Everything was
option.
optional. Good point,
Yeah,
Gus. Thank you for recognizing that. Yeah.
yeah. It was an option, and I recognize that my parents are Christians themselves, and I recognize that as a young age too. But for me personally, I would say as a as a person that kind of struggles with the idea of spirits or just spirituality, um, some of it I would say, and this is just kind of a basis for, I would say, any and all religions, not so much just Christianity, even though that's kind of where this family was kind of founded, I would say.
Yeah, we didn't offer you to be a Mormon
Yeah.
or a Buddhist, or we could have,
Yeah.
but opted not to.
Right. Because you guys were Christians.
Correct.
It's not like you're going to say, hey, you want to be a Jew? Like, no. You're not going to offer that to me. But I would say this kind of just goes for religious beliefs as a whole. I kind of struggle with it, mainly because it's very difficult for me as a person to understand or comprehend the idea of a being that necessarily doesn't physically exist, but I mean spiritually. I mean for me it's like I kind of have a hard time defining what the word spirit means altogether, because I mean it's kind of a existing non-existent is how I see it.
Can't see it, can't believe it.
Right.
And that's a big thing anyway, Gus. We all struggle through that. There's probably not a person that believes in spirituality, a supreme being, if you will. Is that a supreme being?
A supreme being.
Supreme being, if you would. It can be difficult, and there's something that's called blind faith, and blind faith is accepting it like you would as a child, and that's difficult to do as an adult. So I get that perspective of it. Believe me, it was a long time between when I had a Christian education and when I actually became a real Christian. And is every day a struggle with it? Sure it is. Is religion the way? There's a big difference between spirituality and religion.
Yeah.
And is religion the way? I think not. I think that within religions, you can be part of a community.
Yeah.
And that community is like thinking people. And it doesn't matter whether you're a like thinking people, if you're a bowler or a Christian or a hunter, whatever the case is. We all like to be part of community. Much
Right.
like you're part of the theater community, your friends are part of the theater community, your mentors, the people you mentor, etc. We all like to be part of, and I think that's human nature.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where religion comes into play. I think there's a lot of man-made laws associated with that, and I think that's what's a big turnoff to people. And we don't need man-made laws when it comes to spirituality. What you feel within your heart is who you are. And if you lean towards believing in a man that walked the earth as Jesus Christ, there's a lot of history behind that.
Yep.
And so I think that spirituality, religion's two different things, and I think to some degree you may be turned off by religion.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for me, because it kind of, as you exactly said, it's like a good chunk of it is like a man-made type deal. It's like, to a certain extent, it's the beliefs that one person had at one time. And yeah, I mean, I understand that, but to a certain degree, when I look at it in that perspective, I see it as more of like a comfort thing rather than a belief thing.
Oh, it can be a comfort thing, and to have faith does bring comfort.
Yeah.
And you know, we all like comfort. Why do you think you still live in my house? And
because I'm your
okay, I
child.
mean our house. I'm sorry. And yeah, because you are my child. That's correct. I won't kick you out until you're a legal adult.
Yep.
But
February 6th.
going back to the comfort thing, it's very interesting to me as well that people that do not have faith, that do not understand spirituality, they're always quick to knock us that do, and that's part of my generation gap thing. Is that, look, because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I'm a moron. It doesn't mean that I believe in like My Little Fucking Pony or something. It's the truth is that I believe in what I believe. I feel it. I know it. And you know what? If I'm wrong on my last day on the face of the earth, so be it. Because what it's done is at times in my life it has brought me comfort. At times in my life it's made me a better person than I want to be. Mm-hmm. Because by nature I'm not that good of a person.
Right.
And through spirituality and through teachings of what I've learned as a Christian, those teachings are from Jesus Christ. It allows me to be a better person. It helps me to be a better person because truly by nature I'm not.
Yeah.
So that's my spiel. I don't know anything about other religions. I don't care to. I got more on my plate than I want on my plate, and I have enough issues figuring out, even at an old age. Mm-hmm. I mean, middle age in today's world. Sorry. Even at a middle age, I have enough trials of figuring out exactly who I am day to day.
Yeah.
And that may sound discouraging to a young person. That, hey, you know, you're not alone because you're 17 figuring out who you are. You can be in your 60s figuring out who you are.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. And I completely get your point about just not having a care in the world to really understand other aspects. Because, I mean, for me personally, like, I think what's kind of interesting about me was that even though, yes, I technically did grow up in the church, I wouldn't say like full on like birth to now, like that. I wouldn't say that even close.
Oh, undoubtedly, Gus. Yeah.
But what I would say though is, I mean, like I remember probably my 8th grade year in middle school, which that's middle school. I remember, I think it was a leadership class, and me and a couple friends had to do this project about learning something we didn't really understand. And what's crazy is me and these guys, we decided to do our project over the different religions, because it was like me and I want to say like 2 other people that didn't really understand the concept of just religion altogether. You know, aside from just what they were, we just didn't understand, like, how could somebody believe in that, you know?
Well, sure. It all seems like magic. Hocus pocus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, you know, that's how I learned a lot about, like, Islam and Judaism and Buddhism. You know,
You're talking about all the stuff I make fun of.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I live with on a daily basis. But, yeah, so I would say for me personally, it was a transition of learning the different ways of life that other people have, because at the time I was only used to one. You know, I was only used to the one Christian way of life. But I found it, to me personally, very important that I did learn about other people, because I learned where other people come from. You know, I learned about other people's morals based on what they believed in, you know. And I think that's what's important to me, personally, because I feel like personally when you bound yourself to one thing that you agree with or you believe in, I feel like people tend to distance themselves from the other options. You know?
They can, Gus. I understand that totally.
You know, yeah. I mean, it's like, for example, like let's say you had like a tub of K cups for like a coffee machine, and there was only one cup of coffee you liked, and every time you went to go get a cup of coffee, you only took that one cup, even though there was like 12 different K cups in there, and I feel like you kind of miss out when you don't take those other K cups to try. And I think the same kind of goes, not comparing religion to K cups, but
That's kind of what you're doing.
whatever.
But it's a good fit. Keep going.
Yeah, I would personally say that not. I mean, finding a way to be able to understand, maybe not so much believe in, but just understand the different walks of life other people have really allows you to understand what type of people there are in the world. Because ultimately, like, there's not just Christians in the world.
Understood.
You might
There's
say
those
that.
other people.
Yeah, you might say that for like people in the 1100s, because they were just slaughtering anybody that wasn't Christian. But for me personally, I find it very important that we understand the different walks of life. I mean, even if it's something as simple as, do you not believe in Jesus? Or, do you believe in Moses? Whatever else, do you believe in the Quran?
Do you believe in all the other guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, there's a, excuse me while I clear my throat. There's a, that's an interesting way to look at it when you talk about the K cups. I'm not saying that being a Christian's the only way to go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
That's what I find the word comfort very intriguing, and I appreciate that word because that's a lot of what I've gained.
Yeah.
In my walk in learning what it is to be a Christian, and then you'll hear me as I talk through this. You might question, that guy's a Christian, but,
right? God, what a dick.
I have a lot of faults, and we're here to share some of those faults with you today and other days looking forward. So Gus, sum up religion. I'm going to give you an example. Probably one of my favorite examples is as I look at this, and I've heard things like, "Oh, you're a Baptist? Oh, you don't. That means you can't dance, right?" And it's like, do I look like a dancer? Huh?
It's like I can't dance anyway.
You know what? I have the freedom to do whatever I want to do,
yeah.
to make the choices I want to make, and to get slammed over and over, especially by people that supposedly care for me, about having any type of spirituality that's related with religion. I get it. We're all due to our opinions. But I'd say my favorite example is brought to me by an intellectual. It's like I'm an idiot because I believe in this book, and I believe in what's written in this book, for the most part.
Yeah.
And nobody knows just how far I believe in that book because that's just me.
Yeah.
Okay. But I find it interesting in that people who have done that have also had the gall to call and say, "Oh, this has gone bad. It's terrible. We're at the hospital right now. Please say a prayer." It's like, what the fuck? Please say a prayer? Are you kidding me? You're the same person that was making me feel like an idiot because I believe. Because I believe in a religion, because I believe in spirituality. And so how does that have two faces?
What do you mean?
I mean, how does it have the two faces of it's a fairy tale to I desperately need, can you reach out to your God to help us?
Yeah.
How does that play out?
That's kind of an interesting point, to be honest with you, because it's kind of it's a weird situation, and I feel like people who are in that situation and do mention, sending prayers out or whatnot, I think that's just because, I mean, the walk of life in the United States, I would say personally, is founded on at least some form of Christianity.
Undoubtedly.
And I feel like, the idea of sending prayers is just kind of I wouldn't call it an excuse by any means, but I would say it's a way that some people say, "Hey, can you help me out?"
It is, Gus. It's I'd offer this. I see it as the reach when there's nothing left.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those are the people that become Christians, are the people who not the only people.
Yeah.
The people who hit rock bottom
Mm-hmm.
manage to pull out of that bottom from time to time when somebody offers that hand to them.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that. Let me ask you this, Dad. I'm curious. Because you've talked about how religion and spirituality is kind of a different plate. Would you say that it's possible to be spiritual or believe in some being without the community or the idea of a religion?
Oh, completely, Gus. Completely. I
But
don't think my spirituality ever went away when I quit being a Catholic.
yeah,
And I was never going back to the Catholic Church.
you don't blame me.
I took so many damn beatings as a kid that I told my dad once, Gus, I told him that he should have saved his money and not sent me to Catholic school and just beat me himself. And and so Catholicism is a religion. People are deeply bound into that religion,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this part of the country.
Yep.
And and all across the world, of course.
Yep.
But when I stepped away from that, that doesn't mean I quit believing in God.
Right.
That means I quit believing in Catholicism.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm curious, if you took away the materialistic parts of religion, and I even mean, take away the Bible.
Okay.
Do you still believe in some spirit that wouldn't be based on the Bible? Do you think that there is probably some God that isn't based on the
Undoubtedly.
Bible?
Undoubtedly. And I say that and I think that is it a God as we know it as Christians? I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Is my answer. I'm going yes, and like I said, we all need to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
When nobody in the world can help you. There'll be a time in your life nobody in the world can help you, and you're going to have to reach out somewhere.
Yeah.
Are you going to dig in and say, "Hey, let me offer this"? It's like, "Oh, the sun is the God." Okay,
Yeah.
and that's okay. That's okay if you believe that.
Yeah.
You're going to reach out to the sun someday.
Yep.
Or there's a whole array of things. And when you feel good and everything's going your way and you're intellectual, you can say, "What a moron for believing that." But you know what? Not so much. I think that spirit's out there. I think that spirit will talk to you if you talk to it.
Yeah.
And for me, being a Christian, I think that spirit, I've talked to him.
Yeah.
And I believe that I've had responses back.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand. I mean, for me personally, not to jump off of you, but to talk about me for once.
I like to talk about me.
Yeah, no, we know. I guess, I mean, for me personally, I think what struggles most about me is that, because like I said, I struggle with the idea that some being or a God is putting forth everything that's happening in my own life. I truly believe that there's some things in my life, though, that have happened not based on the things that would kind of happen, if you know what I mean. So
Nope.
I guess...
No, better explain that one.
Thanks. I mean, for me personally, like my mother, she was battling breast cancer, what, 6 years ago?
Yep.
Or no, that's not right.
Even more than that. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
9 years ago.
Yeah, 8 or 9 years ago, and
let's go back 10.
Yeah, 10. Why not?
Yeah. Good news is she's well.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Which is great. I think for me personally, when she went through that, I would say that was an act of a spiritual being or a God. I personally would say that.
That's where she reached to for strength, Gus.
Yeah. But for me personally, I mean, there's other things that I struggle with, and I wouldn't really. There's just some ideas of religion. I guess what confuses me the most is the comfort aspect. Or it's not confusing to me, but it's like it doesn't apply to me necessarily. I would say I personally don't feel comforted in the idea of spirituality or religion.
Gotcha.
I would say I find comfort in the things I do.
Like eating McDonald's and stuff?
Well, no, but
okay.
Then I feel like ass afterwards. But no, I just mean like, if I'm having a bad day or if I'm just having like just a shit week or a shit month, for me personally, I don't find the idea of going to church or reading your Bible as like a solution to that. You know what I mean?
I got you, and I'd offer this, Gus. I've been a Christian for years and years, and I started reading my Bible not every morning, but close to every morning, and I've been doing it for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, I'm like, wait a minute, when was this?
So that really kicks off my day well, but I'm with you. I know exactly what you mean, and the comfort aspect to me is not through going to church.
Yeah.
It's not the religion.
Yeah.
It is the spirituality and having a place to reach out to.
Yeah, I can understand that.
That's where the comfort comes into me. Not sitting in a pew or, kneeling down or whatever people do. Stand on their heads and cheer and sing songs. That's not where the comfort comes in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly how I feel too. I mean, it just kind of goes all ways, in my opinion. It's for me, if I needed comfort, I'm thankful that I have people in my life that I can go to get that comfort. Or I'm also thankful for having things I can do to go and do things to get my mind off of whatever.
I got you.
And I don't mean that as like, oh, I'm gonna go have a drink after work. Kind of comfort.
Believe me.
I mean that as like, oh shit, I have a rehearsal for some musical at like 6:00, and that's the one thing I look forward to my day.
Sure.
Sure. It's like if I have to deal with a class, if I have to, let's say I deal with 4 classes in the morning that I just absolutely hate, and it's like the worst day ever. If I know that something like, theater is waiting for me at the end of the day, I know for my own sake, that's what's going to brighten my day. And in a way, that's kind of what I would say similar to the idea for some people with their religion, is that they have something to look forward to.
True. That's very true, Gus.
Yeah.
I'm all on board there.
Yeah.
I'd offer another thing, just a quick thought about religion is, I used to spend a little bit of time, not every day, but a lot of days, the way I recollect it. This is when I was a child, which was like decades and decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I would spend part of my day in a sanctuary, if you would.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It had awesome statues. It had artwork. It had the art was even within the windows, and everything was linen and marble, and just quite a place.
Yeah.
And we would go into this place, and they would speak in a foreign language. They would speak in Latin.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm in 2nd grade. I'm lucky I can speak English. And they're speaking in Latin, and I would sit through this entire ceremony.
Yeah.
Not having a clue what anybody said, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
Okay? In my mind, that's religion. That can be religion.
Yeah.
That was a religion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a whole different world than what spirituality is.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to the Generation Gap podcast once again. This has been kind of a fun adventure, especially for our second episode. Tune in next week where we discuss the issue of patriotism versus nationalism as a very, very late July 4th podcast. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a good day.